What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Beyond the Nines. We have another video for you, one of the pre-recorded things, but we're going to be going over, you've seen by the title already, Wesley Fofana. He's left. It looks like he's pretty much on his way out. Deal has been agreed with Chelsea. However, we have to get a replacement in. This will give us a lot of time, does it? I'll go through some of the advantages and disadvantages. Obviously, the situation we're in at the moment, obviously, it's not great considering how late Wesley Fofana has left, and we haven't really brought in a backup person. We'll look at some of the players that are available. We'll look at our academy. We'll look at some of the players that we're heavily linked with and what the advantages and disadvantages are. And then we'll wrap up with my thoughts. So apart from that, let's get into the video. First thing we're going to do is analyze the squad as a whole. Who have we got as centre-back? So we know before this window we were going to try and bring a left-footed centre-back. So that was on the list for us. However, who have we got at the moment? Evans, Amati, Söyüncü, Vestergaard. And then maybe you throw Wilfred and Didi in there as well as kind of a backup. I mean, the player we're going to look for, let's be honest, because he's the captain and because we're going to need somebody that's going to be able to pair Johnny Evans. Johnny Evans is the player that we're going to be able to, we're going to have to rely on for the majority of the time as the main centre-back. Whoever will be alongside him will have to be slightly like Wesley Fofana, young, talented, good at dribbling, fast, can read the ball really well, read the game really well. That's the kind of player that we're looking at. It's going to be a replacement for Amati if we're playing a back two. If we're playing a back three, again, we can play Evans, Amati, and Söyüncü, but for some reason, Brendan doesn't fancy Söyüncü at the moment. But for the majority of the time, it looks like Brendan's going to persist with the back four. So we'll be looking at some of the central defenders that Leicester City have been linked with recently, like genuine sources coming from Rob Tanner at The Athletic. We'll do some research, see if they would work. Let's get into it. So the first player we're linked with is Manuel Akanji. If you've seen him before, I haven't, but he plays for Borussia Dortmund. This one seemed a strange one to me. So 27, he's 27 years old. We're looking at his spider chart in general. Again, statistics won't mean anything, but I'm not going to lie. I only tend to watch Leicester City. I don't really watch many other clubs, but we're looking at, again, he's a right-footed player, which is obviously what we need. But for what concerns me is that this is the player we're going to have to complement. Again, his role is either through the middle or to the right, which is kind of what we need. We're going to need somebody that will complement Johnny Evans. And for me, this doesn't scream it. Again, preferred footing's right, which is good. Borussia Dortmund, I mean, for a player that we want to bring in, this for me as a gut feeling doesn't feel like the kind of player that we need to bring in. Potentially, this is the Johnny Evans replacement if we are going to get him. I've heard his reading of the game isn't very, very good as well. Again, from this, we're looking at, again, his passing, which is decent. But apart from that, vision's not very good. Vision, obviously attacking. Dribbling, this is something that Wesley Fofana used to do really well. Not really there. And his passing range is good. But you can say the same thing about Vestergaard. So we'll look at Vestergaard and how they compare as well. But for me, this doesn't really work. What's nice about him is his height, 187. Hopefully, we did say with Vestergaard, he'll be good in the air from that position as well. So we'll compare him to Vestergaard now. So comparing these two to each other compared to Yannick Vestergaard versus Manuel Akanji, you can see there's this 57, 54. They're quite similar, in my opinion. You're looking at, obviously, Vestergaard is ahead in terms of physicality, defending, and heading. It just seems very, very similar kind of players. And I'm not sure what Manuel Akanji brings to the team apart from the passing. But we know Vestergaard's not too bad at passing. It is because the thing is, if we get caught on the break, and we're going to need somebody alongside Johnny Evans that's going to be able to lead, but also going to take instructions. Akanji just seems a little bit too experienced for what we need. And I just don't rate it. Even looking at the statistics, which I know is not the best, but it's what we've got to go at the moment. He just seems like a slightly better passing Vestergaard. And for me, that'll be quite concerning. Also, something to mention, he would take up a sizable amount of the budget that Leicester City would want from the Fofana deal. Because we are getting late in the window now, players will be expecting more, just like Danny Drinkwater when we sold him to Chelsea as well. So for this one, for me, it doesn't really hit right. It's not somebody that I would pair him with Johnny Evans with with Akanji. For me, it doesn't really make too much sense. So the next player we have is Edmund Tapsoba. So this one looks a little bit promising to me. What he's really good at, again, is this first line breaker compared to kind of the build-up play. The ability for him to get forward, and again, what I like about him, again, his height, he's right-footed. Again, this for me, he is a big player, but he's quite quick at the same time. Whether Bayer Leverkusen will let him go this late in the season, we'll have to see. It will take a bit of money to move him as well. However, let's get into some of the details about Edmund. So again, height 194, good amount of height, especially from set pieces and things. Hopefully we can go on that. 23 years old, so he is younger. However, I think he could be a good complement to Johnny Evans. He just doesn't seem to fancy Charles Söyüncü, and maybe this is the kind of age, 23 years old, where we need that age and experience to come into the back. Again, he's played at the Dutch, the Bundesliga. It's not necessarily going to be the same when he comes into the Premier League, and we are going to expect whoever comes in to hit the ground running. His stat-wise, not too bad. Again, defending is where he's best at, which is what we need at the end of the day. We do need somebody that's good at defending. Passing 49%, yeah, could be better. But again, he is young. He's only 23 years old. And I think this is the kind of profile of player that I'd like to see at Leicester City. You're looking at his, again, right-footed, what we need. Dribbling, not too great at. Heading, 35%. Not the best in terms of stats and things like that. However, this would be the kind of player that I'd be looking in to bring. Again, Bayer Leverkusen, whether they want to let him go this late in the window, we'll have to see. But in terms of the age and profile that we need, I think Tapsoba quite well. So if we're comparing him to Söyüncü, coming into the game, you can see that Tapsoba is slightly higher in terms of the overall SPR rating, but we're comparing last season's results. So we're looking at how many times they played. Söyüncü played 28, Tapsoba played 22. So he did play less minutes and things like that as well, but we can see defending Tapsoba is better than Söyüncü. Physicality is something that I think we lack in the team, and that Tapsoba can really bring. Passing is better than Söyüncü. Again, something that I do like Söyüncü's passing, but I think his decision making at times is a little bit rash. And I think about their vision is relatively the same, and the attacking is relatively the same. We do have players that are attacking. I don't really need that from our defenders, especially if we're playing in a back four, because our wing backs, essentially, I know they're playing in a back four, but they can get right up the pitch. Our full back, our defensive line is relatively stable, especially with Wilfred Ndidi / Boubacar Samari in that team. We do need a player that is a little bit more, that is going to complement Johnny Evans quite well. And Chala did that, especially if we go back to the 2018 season when we lost Maguire. I think coming into this, looking at, for example, his heading's a little bit better, Söyüncü's, which is something we lack from set pieces, which I'm a bit surprised at, especially with him being taller, 185 to 194. But I think overall, this could be a good option for us if we're comparing the two players. The next player we have to look at, again, that's been linked to us heavily, is Maxence Lacroix. Again, probably butchering his first name, but Lacroix, I think is how you pronounce it. Anyway, so 21 years old, breaking the lines, which is fantastic, playing as a centre-back. Again, appearance of 29. We'll come compare his stats to Söyüncü a little bit later on. Again, the reason why I'm not using Wesley Fofana is because he's out of the team, but also we know his stats are going to be better. The players that we're looking at, I think he was kind of a one-off. But we're looking at kind of the players and the performance at the moment. Again, height 190, again, decent. He hasn't got a prepared foot, which I'm saying, but for me, he would complement Johnny Evans quite nicely. He could play either as in the centre of back three, which is what we need potentially going forward. But I think somebody 21 years old, be able to be coached by Johnny Evans, I think would be fantastic as well. And just going on again, last year's performances, attacking not that great, but what he's got, headering, defending is good, passing is not too bad. Again, we'll compare it to Söyüncü a little bit later on. But for me, this works. This is the kind of player that I would bring in alongside Johnny Evans to kind of secure that back line. And the problem is, with a young player in his position, we're going to have to make sure that he's going to hit the ground running. It's going to be a tough whoever we bring in, because for Wolfsburg, again, the jump up from Wolfsburg to Leicester City in the Premier League is going to be big. However, with a young player with lots of promise, lots of talent, he could be a player that Leicester are seriously interested in, and we shall compare him to Söyüncü now. So comparing them both last year, so we've got Charles Söyüncü on the left and Maxence Lacroix on the right, and we're looking at them going, right, okay, how similar are they? And if you look, there's a lot of similarities. He's a more physical defender, I think, because that's just because of his height. Better defender overall. Söyüncü, again, if his vision, if it comes back, they are similar kind of visions. I think Maxence Lacroix is slightly ahead of him. Of Söyüncü, but again, we need somebody that can read the ball, but also can listen to advance and go when to press, and just learn that over time being alongside him. Attacking wise, I think Lacroix slightly ahead. Again, playing out from the back, they play quite similarly. Dribbling, he's ahead as well. So it's something that we've seen a lot with Fofana, where he gets the ball and drives. And that's potentially what we could do as well. Looking at some of the headers that we could win from that position as well. Söyüncü's slightly better, but again, defending he's better as well. So you can compare the two. And Söyüncü is 25 years old. He's been around the squad for a while now. He is getting not on, but it seems like he's falling out of favour. Lacroix could be the exception for that. And also, these two could work together. If you play Johnny Evans through the middle, Lacroix to the right, Söyüncü to the left, if you're playing a back three, I think that works quite well. So we're needing somebody that is an upgrade if we are playing on that back three, an upgrade over Amati. Amati doesn't really work in a back two. And if we are going to a back three, we can play somebody that is essentially better, an upgrade on Amati on that position. And I think Lacroix could be that. For example, for the gut feeling, again, for Leicester City's recruitment, what kind of player we get in, Lacroix kind of fits that a lot more than, for example, Akanji, because I just think he works a lot better. Another player that we have, again, with Wesley Fofana saga going, before the Wesley Fofana saga is going on, technically it's still going on, but the player that we replace him with the squad has been Lewis Brunt. Could he make the step up? So we're going to look at him a little bit more. Again, played 3. Again, it's all for the under 23s at the moment. Age 21, but his main position is a defensive midfielder. I can't see this working, to be honest. Not yet. I think he's a good player, and he did play in the back 2. I think he was really impressive alongside when it was Hamza Chowdhury, and he played on the left of midfield, but also as a DM alongside Tillemans as well. Centre-back isn't really his position. I'd genuinely rather play in Didi there and put Samori in that midfield. However, it is an option. Not a great option. Again, he's 21 years old, 180, 185 height. He's not been sent out on loan. I think potentially that would be the best thing for him, but I can't see this one happening, to be honest. I just thought it was worth mentioning. So I've tried to keep this one brief. What are my thoughts? Well, coming into this, potentially, there's a few things I want to round up, because Leicester City are in this position. We're literally, again, I'm recording this on the Monday. We've only got 3 days until the end of the window. Are people going to be able to budge? And I'll just give you some of my thoughts and opinions later on. I'll try and keep it brief. First one I've got, finance aren't the issue, but the issue is the end of the window. We should have really got this done earlier on, but the Fofana deal came in completely last minute. He threw all of his toys out the pram, and we need to make sure that we get in the player with very little time. People know that we have money at the same time. Remember back in the Harry Maguire situation where we went to Nathan Ake, we went to Lewis Dunk, we went to James Tarkowski, and they all went, right, 50, 60, 70 million, because we know we've got the Maguire money. Go and spend it on our player if you want it. We've got a similar position here, which is why I think, again, we went for Premier League proven defenders. Looking back at it, we probably didn't need that if we got Johnny Evans, but it's something to look at, to remember as well. And we can't mess this one up. Last time we panic bought when Fofana got the injury was Yannick Vestergaard, and he looks completely out of favour at the moment. He looks like he's getting nowhere near. I don't think he was on the bench for the last few. I don't think he's been on the bench since the beginning of the season. Correct me if I'm wrong. In the Premier League, he might. I know he played against Stockport, but still, we need to make sure that this one, if we're getting somebody in, it's going to be good. And I think it will be Tapsoba or Lacroix. Just makes more sense than Akanji, because from Borussia Dortmund as well, who do a very similar tactic to Leicester, get a player in young, develop them, train them, then send them on for more money. It doesn't make any sense to go in and get somebody that's going to be in the same position. Do I think we'll get a replacement? Maybe. Maybe. It's running late in the window. We do have players, but if we start to get a couple of injuries, we are looking we've got a real problem at the moment. If Yannick Vestergaard, for example, if Daniel Amati and Söyüncü get an injury, we're down to Yannick Vestergaard and Evans, which is that's squeaky bum time right there. And that's defenses all over the place. And if we have an injury we can see that kind of if there is an injury to Evans, then we've got Daniel Amati and Söyüncü that could be there as well. But we are likely going to, if we're going to stick with Brendan Rodgers, going to stick that back 3. And I think we do need somebody. I think I don't have a definitive answer if we're going to sign somebody, yes or no, but it's not looking good. We know that Leicester we're looking to sign a defender before, but it was a left-footed. So we're looking at the likes of Levi Colwill, for example. But he was a left-footed replacement who's going to replace Söyüncü, but Söyüncü is still here. So what are they going to do next? I'm not sure, because the players they were looking for were left side centre-back defenders. On that right-hand side, we've not really been looking because we thought Fofana was going to be here until at least 2023. Then we were going to sell him on. So we're going to be recruiting this year. So there's not really been a lot of luck. One thing to mention as well is that Martin Glover still on gardening leave. I believe he's not doing any transfers until the end of the window, which is going to impact us, which means the two people that are going to be looking at this will be obviously the scouting system, but also Rudkin and Rogers. It'll probably be more on Rudkin because I don't think that Brendan Rodgers will get the final say as manager, I think, but we'll have to see what happens. We've got some good players we're linked with. Whether we're going to get it on time or not, I'm not sure. If you enjoyed this sort of video, make sure you like and subscribe. We'll be back on Wednesday with a full 2-hour show for you, partly looking at Man United, because again, these games going thick and fast and don't have time on Tuesday to record something. So we'll be doing the press conference plus the game, plus a review all in one. So yeah, look forward to that. Hopefully we get something sorted because my God, we are in a mess at the moment and we do need something just to brighten the mood because it's bottom of the table, not looking good. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Thank you for getting us to 2K views. Really, 2K subscribers. Really, really appreciate it. And we hit 300,000 views as well. So we just want to thank you as well for putting all the time and effort that you're doing to these videos. I do appreciate them. And we'll be back for the Manchester United preview and Manchester preview, Manchester post-match. Let's hope they're good games. Thank you very much. Goodbye.